What's up, everybody? All right, you guys, so before we get started, if you're not already following me, make sure you hit that follow button, and you guys, make sure you blow this one up because this story is crazy. Now, this story takes place all the way back in 2005, and it is about 18-year-old Natalee Holloway. In 2005, Natalee Holloway was an 18-year-old from Mountain Brook, Alabama. Now, Natalee was a straight-A student, and her parents and family called her Hootie Holloway.
Day.
It's Hootie.
Hootie Hoo Holloway.
Hi, friend. Just, sitting in the back, cruising over to my place, and you're doing an excellent job. I just want to say happy birthday. You look like a new woman, and I'm sure you feel like one too.
So because Natalee was a straight-A student, she had a full scholarship to UAB, and she was going to major in pre-med. In May of 2005, Natalee would embark on the senior trip of a lifetime when her and her classmates would go to Aruba. So y'all, this was a graduation trip, and they were excited because in Aruba you get to go to casinos, you get to go to bars and all of that when you're of that age. It's not like how it is here when you have to wait till you're 21. A lot of things that you do over there, you can do it a lot younger. So on May 25th, the group consisting of 125 students and 7 chaperones, they settled at the Holiday Inn that was in the northern part of the island. Now, y'all, for the next few days, they're enjoying themselves. They're at the beach. They're having fun. They're partying at night. They are living it up, y'all. And then comes the last day that they're there. It's May 29th. They're going to leave that next day. So they decide to go out and have a little bit more fun. So Natalee and some of her classmates go to a casino, and that's when they meet Joran Vandersloot. Now, Joran, he's 17 years old. He goes to a school in this area, and he's from a town over. So they meet at this casino. Natalee and Joran, they're talking, and they're starting to hit it off. So it is then they decide to leave the casino, and they want to go to a popular bar by the name of Carlos and Charlie's. So Joran, still trying to hit it off with Natalee, he decides to join them, and they all go. Now, once they arrive there, everybody is having fun. They're partying, they're drinking. And a little after 1 a.m., Natalee decides to leave with Joran and 2 of his friends. So Natalee could be seen getting into a Honda, and she leaves with Joran. So remember, that is the last night that they're in Aruba. Now the next day comes, everybody is at the hotel, they're getting ready to pack, and they notice they don't see Natalee. They go to Natalee's hotel room where they see her passport and her luggage still sitting in the same place. Now the chaperones and some of the classmates, they go around and they search for Natalee to no avail. Now, y'all, after not being able to find Natalee anywhere, that's when they go ahead and they contact Beth Holloway, which is Natalee's mother. Now, Beth and her husband, they're all the way back in Mountain Brook, Alabama, basically in Birmingham. But they hop on a jet, they come out, and they arrive in Aruba that night. So Beth, she's retracing all of Natalee's steps. Everywhere that Natalee went for that last few days, she was going back, asking questions, trying to look at surveillance. And everywhere she went led her back to Joran Vandersloot. So she went to his home and she talked to him. So at first, this man denied even knowing Natalee. He made it seem like he didn't know who Natalee was, but y'all, it was too many people who saw him with Natalee for him to lie. Now, after pressing Joran, he then went ahead and told her family, look, yes, I was with Natalee. We went out, went to the beach, did a couple things, and then I took her back to the Holiday Inn. Now he's saying that he tried to help Natalee inside the hotel, but she refused, and that's when he saw 2 security guards help Natalee. Joran is saying that after that, he pulled off and that was it. But y'all, Miss Beth Holloway was like, okay, let me go back and let me review this surveillance. Let me see if what you're saying is true. After reviewing surveillance, they saw that Natalee never made it back to that Holiday Inn. They never saw that Honda on camera or anything, so they knew he was lying. Now, the sad thing is, y'all, they even had detained the 2 black security guards who Joran said helped Natalee in that hotel. They later were released because they knew that he was lying, but now everybody is trying to figure out where is 18-year-old Natalee Holloway. So on June 1st, there is a search team. There is a lot of people out here, tourists. Everybody came out to try to search for Natalee. But y'all, there was no sign of Natalee anywhere, but Miss Beth Holloway did not let that deter her. She still went on the search for her daughter. So Beth Holloway was on every news station. She was in Aruba making noise to the point where they tried to get her put out of Aruba. Now, y'all, catch this. Even though Beth Holloway's daughter, Natalee, was missing, the people in Aruba did not like the negative traction that was coming to their island. Instead of helping, they started to turn on her, but y'all, she kept going at it. She was not going to stop until she found her daughter. Now, eventually, police start to make arrests, and in June, they arrest Joran. And they also arrest the 2 friends that he was with. But y'all, Urine did not stay in jail long. They had to release him because they didn't have any evidence that he did anything. So the two friends, they were also released as well, but y'all, nobody still had any answers as to where Natalee was. Now, y'all, for years, Beth traveled back and forth to Aruba in order to try to find Natalee. But it seemed like nobody had any answers and she wasn't getting any help.
Forward and the next will follow. And you just got to keep on the path until as long as you're on this life, is living this life, because you don't know when answers are to come. And sometimes in people like me and that are not in law enforcement or experienced, they think, well, it's been 2 years, I should have an answer. Well, it's been 10 years, but there's some cases that are solved 20 and 30 years later. So, I try not to get too caught up on it's got to end tomorrow.
In 2007, investigators will arrest Urine and those two brothers that he was with again when they got more evidence. But in December 2007, they were released again because the evidence wasn't enough to stick. So eventually, Miss Beth said, look, I'm going to offer him some money in order to see if he'll talk. Now, at first, she offered him $10,000, and then there was another $15,000 offered in order to get him to tell them where Natalee was. Because at this point, you're looking at 5 years later, they're believing that, look, Natalee has to be dead. There's no way that she could be alive. He knows where the body is. But of course, after receiving the money, Urine just led her on another goose chase and never told her where Natalee's remains were. But what's so crazy, y'all, in 2010, it's being said that Urine actually killed somebody else. So in 2010, he was with a 21-year-old woman by the name of Stephanie. It's being said that him and Stephanie went back to a hotel room, and then Stephanie questioned him about Natalee's disappearance. Now, Urine is saying that he became so angry that he choked and beat Stephanie to death. So what's crazy about this is when he went to court, he actually used a defense that the reason why he killed this other woman was because he was so stressed out about the Natalee case. So he was found guilty of this murder and he had to begin serving a 28-year prison sentence. But Natalee's family was so confused because they felt like the police really dropped the ball. If they had just investigated Natalee's case a little bit more, maybe Stephanie's life could have been saved. So not only is he being looked at for killing Natalee Holloway, now this man has actually killed someone again. So in the midst of all of this going on, Urine was trying to extort $250,000 from Natalee Holloway's family. Now, remember, he had already gotten the $25,000 and then lied like he was going to tell where Natalee was. But because he did this, after he killed the other woman, Stephanie, in 2010, he was actually indicted on wire fraud charges. Now, although he was indicted in 2010, Peru would not let him get extradited back to Alabama to face charges until this year in 2023. Now, once he's back in Alabama and in a courtroom in Birmingham, that's when everything comes to light. Now, Natalee Holloway's mother is face-to-face with the man who she believed killed her daughter. So in June of 2023, he's extradited back to Alabama to face charges on extortion. Now, while facing these charges, he does plead not guilty. But later on in October, he gets a change of heart when they offer him a plea deal. All they want to know is what happened to Natalee, and can you just tell her family this so they can have a peace of mind? So what's crazy is he actually agrees to this, you guys, and that's when we finally find out 18 years later what actually happened to 18-year-old Natalee Holloway.
Where I lay her down, we lay down together in the sand, and we start kissing each other. I get her to kiss me again, we start kissing each other, and I start feeling her up again, and she tells me no. She tells me she doesn't want me to feel her up.
Urine goes on to say that Natalee did not want him touching her, but when he tried to touch her, she actually kicked him in the crotch. This made him so angry to the point where he kicked Natalee in the head. After this, Natalee was unconscious.
On the beach, I take this and I smash her head in with it completely. Her face basically, collapses in. Even though it's dark, I can see her face is collapsed in. Afterwards, I don't exactly know what, I'm scared, I don't know what to do. And I decide to take her and to put her into the ocean.
She's already unconscious. He finds a cinder block on the beach and he bashes her head in. After that, he just takes her body and he just puts her in the ocean. He walks away like nothing even happened. Vandersloot did all of this because Natalee rejected him and didn't want him filling her up. Y'all, this was a straight A student. She had a full scholarship to UAB. This was her vacation trip because she had just did all of this hard work in school. And in return, because she doesn't want to go farther with this guy, he kills her and throws her body in the ocean. For 18 years, you take her entire family on a roller coaster, lying to them, extorting money from them, only to kill again. And the only reason why you told the truth about what happened is because you didn't want time added on to your sentence. Natalee did not deserve this.
Now, he is the killer.
Natalee Holloway went missing during a high school graduation trip with classmates in Aruba. She was last seen in May of 2005, leaving a bar with Vandersloot, a Dutch citizen and student at an international school in Aruba. In the plea agreement, Vandersloot confessed to the killing. He said he used a cinder block to smash in her head after Natalee rejected his advances.
When you hear a killer confess to how he it was intent to kill her, that's pretty shocking. I think, you first start to think, oh, it had to have been an accident. Oh, it had to have been perhaps manslaughter. Or, you don't think of it being an actual intentional kill.
If you're from Alabama, this is a case that we followed for years. Even if you're not from Alabama, I'm quite sure you're very familiar with the Natalee Holloway case. Now, on one side, I'm so happy that Miss Beth Holloway finally is getting some closure. But on the other side, I'm like, y'all, how we give a plea deal to somebody who admittedly killed 2 people? Now, that's the only 2 people he admitted to. We don't know who else he killed. It's sick and it's sad. And I honestly feel like the dad of Vandersloot, which is a lawyer, I feel like he knew the whole time what his son did. And I feel like he helped his son get away with it to a certain extent. I think once the son started killing more people, it was almost like, okay, now we know for a fact this is the person who killed Natalee. So I am very curious as to you guys' thoughts on the whole Natalee Holloway case. This will be considered as episode 2 as cases that we need to relook at. But after this update, we really don't have to look at it again because we know who killed Natalee. We knew all along who killed Natalee, but I guess now we have that sense of closure because he's actually admitted it. This man needs to be in prison for the rest of his life. I told y'all I don't really believe in a death penalty unless it's something to do with kids. But he should have got that death penalty because there's no doubt in my mind this man will kill again. Justice for Natalee Holloway, and my heart goes out to Beth and her family.